Hello again, and welcome back to Philippine Life Through the Eyes of an Expat. Stephen here. Um, Today's content is going to be about, there's a few different topics that I'd like to, get across. One being very detrimental and derogatory, what I had a comment a couple of days ago, I think, regarding living like a squatter and eating fish every day. I don't know if he was referring to the Philippines in general, or if he was referring to me, I don't know. But I'll get onto that a bit later. What I was going to say was, when we are here, as foreigners, again, it doesn't necessarily mean the Philippines, it could be anywhere. But generally speaking, and this is not always either, but sometimes, I don't know the percentage, maybe a high percentage, maybe not so high. And the mosquitoes are biting me, incidentally. Didn't put no off lotion on. But, when we as foreigners, and we find our partner, and generally speaking, the partners that we meet, they might not be working, depending on where you are, I mean, if you're in the city, then maybe they are working. But even in the provinces where I am, and, my wife came, from the province. She actually came from Liloy originally, and then she ended up in Dipolog, and then we ended up here in Pinyan. And generally what happens is they don't work, especially when they have children. They taking care of the kids and things like that. But even if you haven't got children, what normally happens is they don't get a job, okay? So it's the foreigners like us, expats, who support them, and ourselves, of course. And that's, to me, doesn't bother me whatsoever. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. But what I have seen here, because the expat or the foreigner is supporting the Filipina, the expat expects the Filipina to do whatever he says, because he might have this mindset where he thinks, well, I'm paying for everything, so you do what I say. That's totally wrong. I've seen it, honestly, and I'm sorry if this gimbal is shaking a bit. I've got to get that 360 eventually, next year. And that's totally wrong, I remember when I was in England and I was married, before, I used to support my wife. She didn't work. We had two sons, and she never worked. She kept the house. But just because I was the breadwinner of the house, it didn't mean to say that I was do this, do that, drop that, leave that, come along with me. I never did that. I never would do that. That's so disrespectful, in my opinion. But I've seen it here. When the foreigner could be out somewhere, and it's time to go home, or he thinks it's time to go home. Come on, we'll go home, without any consideration for his partner. She might be enjoying herself and might want to stay. And yes, if he wants to go home, he can say something like, should we go soon? That's much more polite, isn't it? But I've seen foreigners here. They kind of they are like, not aggressive perhaps, but stern, and their Filipino wives are very passive generally, until you upset them. Then they're not passive. Oh my goodness, no. So I think that, just because we are supporting them and keeping the house going, it doesn't mean to say that, we should be rude and expect them to do everything that we want to do. We've got to take into consideration what they want to do as well. And I always do that, with my wife. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? And things like that, And I think that's the right thing to do. Whether it's a Pinay wife, girlfriend, or whether it's a British or American, Australian, Canadian, a European, it doesn't matter. You know, we give them exactly the same respect. People are people wherever you go. People are people. We've got their same, you know, their same emotions as anywhere in the world. It's only cultures that change, cultures and maybe personalities, but people are people. We've still got the same feelings. So that's that bit out the way. And this, you know, this other bit that I would like to talk about was really, really strange, you know. And I think it was on about the video that I did about how I came here without a pension. And there was a comment on there, and this guy or girl, I think it was a guy, said, I want to stay, and I think it was American, I think, and that doesn't make no difference. I'm just saying because he was saying US dollars, okay. And he said, I want to stay where I am for my social security, my pension, with, you know, because I spend $7,000 a month. And he says, I don't want to live like a squatter or eat fish 7 days a week. Now, we are all entitled to our opinions and views, okay? But I thought that was really, really rude. You know, live like a squatter. You know, I have nowhere near that amount of money every month, and I don't consider myself living like a squatter whatsoever. I've never lived like a squatter. And even if I did live like a squatter, it's none of anybody's business. You know, it's really none of anybody's business how people choose to live. And incidentally, there are many poor people here, as you already might know, folks. You know, there are many poor people here. But I would never, in a million years, look down upon them, ever. I really, really wouldn't. And you know, these people who are poor and live in close to the rivers where they get flooded, they always have, you know, calamities because of where they live, simply because they cannot afford to move anywhere else. You know, they probably tenants, you know, and they are staying there, maybe taking care of the land, like the coconuts and things like this, doing the copra. But they are hard-working people. The Filipinos are hard-working people. And it's, you know, the salary that they get is, you know, whatever they get, you know. It's none of our business how people live. And, you know, it's certainly not, it's no one's business to judge anyone how they live. You know, being Westerners, we are very fortunate. You know, we are very fortunate, and these mosquitoes are really killing me. We are very fortunate, you know, to be able to have lived the life that we have lived, and not necessarily in a financial you know, capacity, but maybe because of all of the amenities that we've had, like, you know, everything being available to us, being readily available to us. So we are very lucky. Many Filipinos have never been out of the country, simply because maybe they don't want to, or they don't know how to, and it's quite difficult to get out of the Philippines, you know, to go to other countries if you, yeah, the overseas, you know, Filipino workers, you know, that's different. But I certainly wouldn't look down on anybody, and for that person to actually say that. And by the way, fish is not a bad diet, to be honest with you. It's much more healthier than a meat diet. And some of the fish here, all of the fish here, I would say, apart from this, you know, the fish that, you know, perhaps you don't like, but, you know, the salmon, the tuna, the rockfish, you know, the grouper, all of this good fish is very expensive back home, you know, back in the UK. Here it's cheaper. It's like 500 pesos for a kilo, and that is of a fish called grouper, which is a rock cod. Very delicious tasting fish. Very delicious tasting fish. So by someone saying, I don't want to live on fish every day of the week and live like a squatter, well, yes, that's your opinion, and you know, but I don't respect that opinion. I don't. You know, you can perhaps word that differently, and then I would have some respect for that opinion, but it's just the way it was worded. And incidentally, these guys here, these Filipinos, work very, very hard. much more harder than I've ever worked in my life. I see some of these Filipinos, and they small, wiry guys, most of them, on construction sites. And they just get on with it. You know, they picking up 35, 40 kilo bags of cement and sand and gravel. They stick a cigarette in the mouth and like that, and away they go, you know, picking it up, all handball, all by hand. They don't complain, they just get on with it. For, what's their salary? I don't know, 350, 500 pesos a day. They just do it. Maximum respect, maximum, you know, respect to these guys. So that's that thing. Another thing I would like to say on this video is, and it happened to a friend of mine, okay? This happened to a friend of mine. And I'll tell you what happened, but I won't mention his name, but I'll tell you what happened. He was with a Filipina for, I think, 9 years. He was living here for 9 years. He's still here, but he's not living the life that we are. You know, he's not free, and I'll get to that in a moment. Well, what it was, they broke up. I don't know what about. I didn't ask him. It was none of my business, and I thought if you want to tell me, he could tell me. But anyway, he said that she was a bit of a flipper, you know. And this is only his side of the story, okay? So I'm not taking any sides, because there's two sides to every story. Well, he said that she was a bit of a flipper, meaning that like a mood was up and a mood was down. So one day she'd flip out and start shouting and screaming. Sorry about the dogs here. I don't know who they belong to. I will move on. I will move on because I don't want it to irritate you. So she used to flip, apparently. I don't know. I only met this lady a couple of times and she seemed okay to me, but I wasn't living with her. So anyway, they split up. To cut a long story short, they split up. Now, I'm saying a friend. He was an acquaintance. He was someone where I was living in an apartment, and there was 8 apartments. That was before I came here. So this is 3 years ago. And he was living in the bottom apartment, and yet it was quite big. You know, like he had like a fair bit of land, but it was only rented, and he had chickens, and he was growing vegetables, and it seemed that, you know, like he had quite a good little life there. But I never saw them together. I never saw him with his girlfriend. Never. So they were never together. And someone reminded me about the coconuts. I'm just moving away from them. Yeah, I'll sit here. I don't want to walk round to them because the mosquitoes about bend down here, then they can't really bite my legs because I'm sat on them. So, where did I get to? I've lost my track. Oh yeah, so like I never really saw them together. Anyway, they split up, and the lady had a couple of daughters, but they weren't his. They were from a previous relationship, a previous marriage. I don't know. And very soon, I moved out here by then. So this was 3 years ago. So I lost contact with him for a little while. And then I was in Dipolog once and I saw him with this really young girl. I mean a young girl. He was my age. He was in his 50s, early 50s. And I was on my motorcycle. And I thought, is that him? And I, blooming heck, it is. And he saw me because I slowed down just to make sure if it was him or not. And he, Stephen. So I stopped and he said, oh, you know, meet my new girlfriend. Really, guys, honestly. I mean, yeah, they say in the Philippines age is just a number, but she was about, I don't know, 16, 17. He said she was 18 or 19. Maybe she was, I don't know. But it just, to me, it looked wrong, okay? So he said, oh, you know, meet my new girlfriend, and this is her name. I can't even remember her name, to be honest with you. I was just kind of taken aback. And what happened was, he was out. Oh, he's my, look, he follows me everywhere. Hello, you. So he was out, and he bumped. This is the story that I heard, and the story I heard was from him. So, get down, Jackie, get down, get down. So he said to me, he bumped into his ex-partner, and he was with his ex-girlfriend. So he introduced his ex-girlfriend to his ex-partner. Not, that's just a stupid thing to do. You know, you've only been broken up very recently. You know, talking about antagonizing somebody. You know. So apparently, his ex-girlfriend was very upset, which is only natural. You know, I think if I broke up with my wife and I saw her, or she introduced her new boyfriend to me in a short space of time, or any space of time actually, I wouldn't be very happy. I'd be upset. But anyway, now what happened was, I never saw him no more after that. He was just telling me about how his ex-girlfriend was very upset about it, and she was just looking at him and looking at his new girlfriend. Now, I heard through the grapevine, and I know it's true because I went to actually see the people. His ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, went to the police and made an allegation against him. And the allegation was rape. So she went to the police station, or attempted rape or something, and said that he attempted to rape her. Anyway, he got arrested by the police, and it come to light that also there was 2 other charges where it was indecent assault to the kids, and I think they were, one was 14, the other one was 15, I think. You know, I thought, oh my God, you know, oh my God. Anyway, he's still in prison now. He's still awaiting trial. I think it's coming to the end of the trial. I think it's his defence now. I'm not quite sure. But what I'm just saying, folks, is yes, you split up from your partner, but you know, you don't antagonise anybody. You know, you don't. We're in the Philippines here as guests, whether you're on a tourist visa, whether you're on a like a retirement visa, or whether you're on a permanent resident visa, which I am. We are still guests in this country, and we've got to respect everything and everybody, the rules. Now here, the legal age to go with somebody, or to have like an intimate relationship, is 18, right? Fair enough, great. So we have to respect that. Now, whether this guy did do what he was, the allegations were, I don't know. But my ex-wife told me, my wife now told me that this guy had asked my wife, did she have any sisters? So my wife said, yeah, she's got some sisters, but the sisters were young. He said, oh, that doesn't matter. Guys, or anybody, no one wants to be abstained. No one wants to be abstained. Nobody does. So what I'm saying is, any guys coming, look at the mosquitoes all around me. Any guys coming here, just be careful. Just be careful. Abide by the rules. Many of the Filipinos look older than what they are, especially if you've been in bars and they made up, they could be underage. So just be very, very, very careful, guys, be very careful. Anywhere in the world it's a very serious offence, but can you imagine being locked up in a foreign country? I can't think of anything worse. I really can't think of anything worse apart from being bit with mosquitoes 300 times since I've been talking to you guys. So yeah, whether he gets off, I don't know. Did he do it? I don't know, but why would you want to go with girls that are very young? If you're 18 yourself, that's fine. You're 18, you go with an 18-year-old, that's fine. But being in your 50s, going with a 16, 17, 18-year-old girl, 19, 20-year-old girl even, it's not on, I don't think, and it just looks odd. And yes, a lot of these people think, yes, I got a trophy. Well, it's not really a trophy, it's you're going to get some real strange looks. I know that, and I can't blame the people giving strange looks. Jackie, what are you doing, silly Billy? Eh? What are you doing? So yeah, that's just that. Just be very careful here, guys. allegations are allegations. You know, the police will have to act on them. They still have to act on them. And another thing before I go is living here. You know, getting back to that squatter thing. That guy said, I don't want to live like a squatter. Well, living like a squatter. So what defines living like a squatter? Well, a squatter is actually someone who lives somewhere that doesn't belong to his. You know, to him, or in England it does anyway. They used to be squatters many years ago, and yet they used to have squatters' rights. So what used to happen? These squatters would go into a house that was abandoned, well, not abandoned, but vacant, and they would set up home in there. And in the olden days, they used to have things called squatters' rights, and it was very difficult for the owners, you know, to get them out. That's how it used to be. It's not like that now. And oh, that dog's barking down there. I'm walking towards the dog. I should be walking away from the dog. And so that's what defines a squatter. Okay. Now, squatters are the way that this guy was telling me. I don't know if he was insinuating that I live like a squatter or not. But even if he wasn't talking about me or was talking about me, it's still a horrible, derogatory word to use. $7,000 a month? Great, fair play to you, brilliant. Yes, that's absolutely brilliant. I don't need that. I'm not in a rat race. I'm not in a rat race where I need all that money. You know, I'm not paying rents, extortionate mortgages with high interest. So I don't need that. And if he was like insinuating about the Filipino people, that's even worse. To actually say something like that about Filipino people. People, some people. I just can't understand some people. And I never will understand people like that. Do you know, if anyone in my family had said something like that, I would be ashamed. I would be ashamed that they, or I was a member of that family. And thank heavens I got a much better family than that, who don't look down on anybody. They don't look down on people in the street. They don't look down on people who, you know, who haven't got a job. It's just, it's life. Life is life. Life is life. And it takes all kinds to make up this life, you know, to take up this world we live in. The dog's barking because there's a couple of guys walk down there. Jackie, oi, shh. Oh no, she's barking at the cow. So, who is anybody, you know, to judge anybody just because of means, you know, because of means. You know, most of the people here that I know, and I wouldn't say poor people, but you know, they all work. They all work every day. Some work 6 days a week, some work 7 days a week. The guys who work on construction, they work when they have the work. You know, if there's no construction work happening, then obviously they don't work. But they will always find something else to do, like copra or something like that, chopping wood and selling the wood as firewood. So they're always working. They're always doing something. Because here, no work, no money, no food. There is something here called iorda and pantawed. Pantawed is for the families with children who live in these by-high cobos without a fridge, without things like this. And I think every 3 months they get a payment from the government for the kids, you know, to clothe the kids for school and get their school, you know, the amenities in school, and you know, things like school uniforms, books, you know, textbooks, books, pens, pencils, things like that. And the ones that don't, you know, the older people, they get something called iorda. And I don't know how often that is paid, but it's not a lot. I think it's 2,000 or 3,000 every 2 or 3 months. So, no work, no money, no food. And that's how it is here. And I've never had anyone here begging off me. Never. And incidentally, guys, I do help people. Like a month ago or something, there was a big flood. There was a storm, a flood. And I went down to it was the fisherman's village, and they are just living there, you know, because they can't afford to live anywhere else. And they were flooded out, really. Kids, you know, and the water was waist deep. So me and my wife went there when we had a bit of time. Was it a weekend? Went down there, helped them bail out. I'd never been there before, and they looked, and I said, you know, can we help you? And you know, my wife was translating, and they were looking in astonishment that maybe a foreigner was there helping. And I was waist deep in water as well, wastewater, all kinds of nasties. But I was helping bailing out the water, and we didn't have a lot of money. But I went and we bought some rice and sardines, corned beef in the tins, maize, and we bought a couple of sacks of rice, and we just divided it as best we could to the people who was there, because they didn't have nothing. Honest to God, they didn't have nothing. And I couldn't just bear to watch them with nothing, especially with kids. You know, oh, and I bought milk as well. I bought Bear Brand, I bought all kinds of milk for the kids. And that's what we did. And lo and behold, a couple of days later, there was another flood. You know, there was another storm that come through. They were all flooded out again, went back down, and we did the same again. And they couldn't thank us enough. They couldn't thank us enough. And I said to my wife at the time, I said, look, tell the people, if they want somewhere to stay, temporarily, mind, only temporarily, while these floods were happening, and they couldn't live it, all of their belongings, which wasn't a lot, all of their belongings was just ruined. It was floating on top of the water. The blankets, the bedding, pillows, all no good. So I said, they could come and stay with us upstairs in my house. I didn't know who they were, but I don't care. You know, I couldn't bear to see them like that. And you know, not one of them said yes, because they were too proud. They were too proud. And you know, even giving them rice, they were like, I said, Miri, just do it, you know, just do it. And you know, they were just very, very proud. And they were reluctantly taking the free handouts that we was giving them. And I said to my wife, you know, one thing that I would like to do in the Philippines is help people like that in catastrophes and things like this. But you know, I think, you know, many of us would like to do that same thing, but it's very challenging, it's very time consuming, and I get very emotional when I see things like that, especially kids and things, you know. So I don't think I'd be no good at doing that. You know, like, I take things on board, and it bothers me. I can't sleep thinking about these poor people. So I don't know. Maybe sometime, maybe next year. I mean, if we can afford to do something like that, I would like to do that. You know, buy some sacks of rice and take them into these poor places and hand it out. You know, but that's something for the future, because I've been here now for 6.5 years, and I've had such a good time here, and most of the Filipinos that I've met, they've been really kind to me, really kind. You know, they've helped me out, you know, find apartments before I bought this place. Oh, there's an apartment around here, you know, sir, we'll show you where it is. And they even took me on their motorbike and took me to the apartments, because then I didn't have no transport either. So they took me to all these places. So I just want to give something back. Do you know what? In my country, everyone's out for themselves. It's like dog eat dog in my country. Everyone is out for themselves. They don't give a rat's about anyone else but themselves. And here is different. They all seem to look out for each other. And yes, they gossip and talk about each other and cause problems like that, but they all seem to look out for each other. There's an old lady who lives up here, and her son died recently. And she gets IOTA whenever it's all, like, I think she gets a pension as well, small pension. I think the pension is 3,000. It's 1,000 pesos a month, I think. Well, it's not a lot. So, and she walks, because her house is, where am I pointing? Right up there. So she walks this track, she goes up there, and this is the track that she walks every day, walks up here, and she walks past our house here. Do you know what? She hasn't got anything, and She was bringing us eggs, because she's got some chickens up there. And I wake up in the morning, and on my table there would be 2 eggs. I said, Amira, who's left these eggs? I said, Linda. I said, no. So I said, yeah, she hasn't got anything to sell, and that's just how she is. See, so she gives you half of what she's got, and she hasn't got a lot. It's people like that that make the real world go around. People who don't think of themselves. People who aren't out for themselves. And I love that. So now, and she won't take nothing from me. She won't. So I give Mira twice a week. We do it. Yeah, we do it twice a week, and we've been doing this now for the last 3 months, I think. 3 months. We give her a kilo of rice every couple of days. So twice a week she gets 2 kilos of rice from us. But like I said, she won't take it from me. Oh no, I don't want that. Take it, Linda. Take it. Is your husband okay? Yes, it's my husband that's buying it. Of course he's okay. And she's such a lovely old lady. Very noisy though. She walked past the house looking like that, looking. But such a lovely, lovely, lovely lady. So yeah, we do things like that. What's a couple of kilo of rice a week? 120 pesos or something for 2 kilos. So I certainly don't mind doing that. But I'd like to do more of it. Maybe next year, maybe next year somehow. I'll think of something. I'll think of some financial way of doing it. Like I said, we can't help everybody. But just in times of need, I don't mean go around every day. I don't mean that. I mean when there is a catastrophe like a typhoon, a flood or a landslide, go to them places and just help out as much as we can. I would like to do that. Let's just see. Oh, the lemon's coming well, look guys. The lemon is almost ready for picking. Almost. So yeah, and that's it really. Yeah, that's it. The weather's very beautiful, but it's still windy out at sea. So guys, you guys who want me to see me fishing, I'm sorry I can't do it yet. It's a bit rough at sea. My boat's only small. I don't want to capsize and kill myself, and I'm sure you don't want me to kill myself either. So just understand, I will be out when I can do it, because I want to be out much more than what you want to see me out, believe me. I'm itching to get out. I truly am itching to get out and do a bit of fishing. So that's it. We've reached 1,000 subscribers. We've reached it, but we're still down on watch hours. You need 4,000 watch hours. I think we've got 2,000, I think. So I'd like to take this opportunity, guys, to thank you so much for subscribing to this channel. I really would. And look at these mosquitoes. There's so many of them. But thank you. Without you people subscribing, we wouldn't have reached where we've reached in 5 or 6 weeks. It's been phenomenal. And again, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And so will my wife if she was here, but she's out walking my son. So thank you. It means a lot, really. It means that people are liking the content in which we're doing. And if people are liking the content that we're doing, it gives me incentive to carry on. And I've got some lovely followers, I get some lovely comments. And it makes my day. It does when I see these, apart from the bad comment, like the squatters and fish and things like that. And some guy actually said as well, he said, I'll watch your videos if you have a shave. What? And I thought, if I have a shave, you'll watch the... Well, I thought, well, I quite like a bit of stubble. So I wrote back and I said, well, yeah, that's your choice. if you want to watch, if you don't, but I thought, I'm not going to shave just because you don't want to watch my channel if I don't shave. Strange. Some people are strange. Was that a troll? Did he mean it, or did he? Was it a joke? I don't know. But yes, guys. So thank you very much again. Hit the subscribe if you already haven't. Hit the notification button, and what's the other thing? What's the other one? Can't remember. Oh, share the video. And hit the like button, very important, hit the like button. But leave comments, leave comments on what you want me to do, and I will try my very best to do it. Guys, listen, take care wherever you are, day or night. Stay healthy, take good care, and God bless you. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.